Okay, my next project. I've got a daughter who makes these coasters and decoupages photos on them, and they really look nice. They're old photos of the family and different gatherings, and she gave everybody in the family a bunch of them. Either you got 6 or you got 8. So I've decided, because I've been hounded by my wife, my mother-in-law, my daughter. So when you got 3 women after you, why you got to do something about it. So this is the idea I came up with, and I even went so far as to make a prototype of this one. You can see this is holding 6 coasters, and I wanted to try and keep it as light and tight as possible. So my first thought was, well, let's just do these uprights out of 1/8 inch thick material. You know, mortise them or dado them into the cross piece there, and then shape the bottom with a little crescent arch. And I thought that looked pretty good. I showed that to my wife. She was pretty happy with it, so I went down and made a prototype. And here's the prototype, and here's what happened. And I knew this was a possibility, but you know, this was just dry fitted together. And then as my wife was playing around with it, why, snap, this broke off, and you know, that's a weak point there, obviously. So right here is the weak point. So when you glue it together, I think it probably would have been okay, but that spurred me on to make another version. And the base is pretty much the same, but instead I've got those upright pieces running the other direction. You know, they're running vertically, and they're let into these pieces, and they're much more substantial. These are 1/4 inch thick now instead of 1/8 inch. And the other little detail we added here is we decided to add a taper to the outside. All right, so that's what I've decided to make. One, like I said, 1 for 6, 1 for 8. The problem is that I shot a bunch of this footage, and I'm doing the intro part now, but I shot a bunch of footage, and I don't know what happened. It disappeared on me. So we're going to kind of pick this thing up midstream, and I'll explain to you the part that you missed. It basically was cutting parts to length, doing the half lap joints, and then the big thing was cutting these dados in the end of the boards, or the end of the cross members there, I guess. So what I did was I used my box joint jig and just basically cut a box joint on the end of each piece. So that turned out pretty nice. So when the next video starts up, it's going to be starting with the piece pretty much at this stage right here. So I apologize for the fact that I lost all that, but I think that you'll be able to figure out what happened. So without any further ado, let's get busy and let's get down and show you what's going on with this project. Okay, let's start here. This is everything dry fitted and kind of rough cut. You can see my uprights here. They're made out of cherry, and then my base is made out of maple. So what I'm going to do here is show you that first of all, these are going to get tapered on the outside to about the midpoint, from there down to the corner, and then these will get cut to match that taper. Alright, but here's how I'm going to handle this situation right here. So this is one of the coasters that my talented daughter, this one, Jackie, let me zoom in on this brood here. So this is my wife's side of the family. And these are my two daughters, my wife, me, and my son. This is back before these three were taxpayers, but they've now since graduated from college, and they're now all paying taxes, which I really like. So, but you can see the gap here I have when I put this up snug to the inside edge. And if I measure this distance right here, it's just a little over 1/4 of an inch. So what I need to do is, this is an extra one I made, these are going to get notched just a hair less than 1/8. I should have my pencil over here, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is, if this is the notch, if my ruler is the notch, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that notch out of them like that. That's going to do two things for me. It's going to take up this gap, and it's also going to cover these little bits of blowout right here. So this will come down on the maple and give you a seamless look. Okay, so that's where I'm at in the project right now, and I've got to get busy and get going on these parts. So coasters will then fit inside here with very little movement. These, I'm going to make this one to accept 8 of these. I have to make 3 of them to accept 8, and the rest are going to be made to accept 6. So let's get busy. Okay, let me show you how I'm going to make this setup here. This, if you'll recognize, is the piece of wood I use for my cutting my uprights. Just flipped over, and actually this is the first side, the other side is covered up. But anyway, what I want to do here is, first of all, establish my depth of cut. I'm going to do that by making my first pass here, and hopefully I'm less than 1/8. Yeah, I don't think I am. So I'm going to drop this down a little bit. I'm going to make a pass and for sure establish my line anyway. So let's do that first here. Okay, that second pass was good. It was just a hair underneath. So now I've got this line right here. I had my pencil. Hang on 1 second. So here are the pieces I'm going to cut. Now they're just a little bit different in length, but they're well over the length I need. I think you can see that there. Yeah. So what I want to do is cut from the bottom and then let the top run wild. So here's the workpiece. So if this is the top of the cut and this will be the bottom, I want to be offset by that much. I'm going to make my mark here. I know you can't see that, but what I'm doing is lining up this edge with my opening, plus a little bit, I mean just a fraction. And that line right there is where I want this stop block to be moved to. Now the thing is, I don't want to move this. So I've got to get another clamp on here. Holding that in place. Sliding this up to my mark. And clamping that down. And that should do it. Now I can run these 2 at a time, and then we can test fit them. So what I'm going to do is make my first pass, slide them over, and then finish it up. And actually, because these are kind of a special fit, let me see, I've got an extra one. Now this is a drop, so I'll just use this one. That's way short. Now why is that short? That's that. Oh, I measured I measured this thickness, not this one. Okay. Back to the drawing board here. Get this reclamped. Slide my stop block back to this position. Now let's see what happens. And so look, we're going for, it's just a little short. Why, not by much. I think with some sanding, I'm just going to leave that alone. So let me get the rest of these cut off, or cut back. Then we'll put it together and show you what I have. But that's going to be nice. That covers up that joint line right there. There's a little bit of tear out on some of these. Not bad, you know, but I like that. And then we can check our inside dimension and see if we have to make any adjustments to this cut.